The main objective of the National Petroleum Policy basically seeks to establish a robust governance and regulatory framework for the oil and gas sector while promoting sustainable exploration, development and production.
First order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.4, I wish to report to the House that I have received a message from the Senate on consideration of the Kenya Roads Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025. Honorable members, the message conveys that on Tuesday, 4th August 2026, the Senate considered and rejected the motion for second reading of the Kenya Roads Amendment number 3 Bill of 2025. You will recall that this House considered and passed the bill with amendments on 7th October 2025. Thereafter, I referred the bill to the Senate for consideration in accordance with the provisions of Article 110(4) of the Constitution. Honorable members, the decision of the Senate on the bill effectively commits a bill to the Mediation Committee pursuant to the provisions of Article 112(1)(a) of the Constitution. Honorable members, to enable the constitution of the Mediation Committee, the National Assembly is required to appoint 9 members to sit on the committee. I therefore call upon the leadership of majority and minority parties in the House to expeditiously nominate members to represent the National Assembly in the Mediation Committee. Honorable members, at an appropriate time, I will communicate to the House the members of the National Assembly and the Senate appointed to the Mediation Committee. The House is accordingly guided. Thank you. Honorable members, I also wish to introduce to you a delegation from the Parliamentary Service Commission of the Parliament of Uganda who are seated in the Speaker's row. They are the Honorable Susan Jolie Abenja, MP and Backbench Commissioner, and the Honorable Faith Loru Nakut, MP, Benchback Commissioners. Honorable members, the delegation is accompanied by the Director of Commission Secretariat, Mr. Busiki Peter. The members are in the country as a part of an induction program for the newly appointed backbench commissioners of the 12th Parliament. The visit will also expose them to the parliamentary governance systems, institutional best practices, and innovative approaches adopted by many other legislatures. Honorable members, on my own behalf and that of the National Assembly, I wish to welcome them to Parliament and wish them fruitful engagements during their stay in the country. Thank you. And before we proceed, allow me to recognize the following schools who are seated in the Speaker's Gallery. Chepkolon Greenlands Academy from Aina Moi constituency, Kericho County. Also seated in the Speaker's Gallery is St. Joseph's R.C. Webuye School from Webuye East constituency, Bungoma County. Okay, next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 25th August 2026. A framework agreement on the establishment of the International Solar Alliance, ISA, and the explanatory memorandum from the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, and B, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2021, 30th June 2022, 30th June 2023, 30th June 2024, 30th June 2025, and the certificates therein in respect of the following. AIC Saramek Secondary School, Wasingishu County, Kirangondu Secondary, Meru County, Alungoli Mixed Secondary, Busia County, Bishop Njiru Girls Kangeta Secondary School, Meru, Busakala Secondary School, Bungoma County, Chugubu Boys Secondary School, Meru County, Embakasi Girls Secondary School, Nairobi City County, Friends Secondary School, Kimugui Boys, Bungoma County, Gikumene Girls Secondary School, Meru County, Gikurune Boys Secondary School, Meru County, Gogo Mixed Secondary School, Homa Bay County, High Ridge Girls Secondary School, Nairobi City County, Hospital Hill High School, Nairobi City County, Kitogo Secondary School, Nyandarua County, Kotolian Mixed Secondary School, Narok County, Maho Girls Secondary School, Busia County, Masikonde Secondary School, Narok County, Moi High School, Kabartonjo, Baringo County, Muhori, Mushiri Secondary School, Nairobi City County, Mukodhima Mixed Day Secondary School, Tharaka Nithi County, Mudhambi Boys Secondary School, Tharaka Nithi County, Mwingi Secondary School, Kitui County, Njia Boys Secondary School, Meru County, Nkubu Boys High School, Meru County, Ntoroni Mixed Day and Boarding Secondary School, Tharaka Nithi County, Our Lady of Mercy Girls Secondary School, Busia County, RCA Livingston Secondary School, Uasin Gishu County, Roria Secondary School, Nakuru County, Spinners Boys Secondary School, Kiambu County, St. James Nasewa Secondary School, Busia County, St. James Kocholia Secondary School, Busia County, St. Michael Sisenye Mixed Secondary School, Busia County, St. Teresa Girls Secondary School, Bungoma County, and lastly, Ururu Girls Secondary School in Meru County. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, thank you, honorable members. I will still come back to order number 5. There is papers to be laid by the chairperson of the Education Committee, and when they are ready, then we shall come back to you. But meanwhile, we can proceed to the next order. Apology, honorable members. As we wait for the chairperson of the Education Committee, I think we can start with the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs. You can proceed.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 25th August 2026. Reports of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on its consideration of number 1, the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2026, and number 2, the Penal Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2026. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, next we have the chairperson for the Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following. This House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Income Tax Amendment Legal Notice number 15 of 2021, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 25th August 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 13, subsection 3 of the Income Tax Act, Cap 4, Chapter 470, this House approves the Income Tax Amendment Legal Notice number 15 of 2021, published as Legal Notice number 191 of 2025. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, next.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Okay, statement to be requested for by Honorable Member for West Bugirango. Honorable Mogaka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I seek to request for a statement regarding delays in the processing and payment of retirement benefits to our pensioners. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department or Committee on Finance and National Planning regarding persistent delays in processing and remittance of retirement benefits to retired public servants across the country. Honorable Speaker, having dedicated their productive years to serving the nation, retirees are lawfully entitled to receive their pension in a timely manner so as to meet their basic needs and live with dignity. Regrettably, Honorable Speaker, many pensioners continue to face prolonged delays in the processing and payment of their benefits, thereby subjecting them to financial hardship during their retirement years. Honorable Speaker, these delays have caused unnecessary suffering, particularly for pensioners who rely solely on their monthly pension to meet daily needs, to access medical care, and to support their families. The situation is even more dire, Madam Speaker, for elderly pensioners, some of whom endure extended waiting periods, while others tragically pass on before receiving the benefits they earned through decades of public service. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning on the following. 1. The status of pending pension claims as at June 2026 and the number of pensioners whose retirement benefits remain unpaid across the country. Number 2, the reasons for the persistent delays in the processing and payment of pensions and retirement benefits. Number 3, measures being undertaken by the government to clear the existing backlog of pension claims and ensure timely payment of benefits. And finally, Madam Speaker, reforms in place to strengthen pension administration system, to reduce bureaucratic bottlenecks and guarantee that pensioners, including the beneficiaries of deceased pensioners, receive their lawful benefits promptly. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Who can give an undertaking on behalf of the Finance and National Planning Committee? Yes, proceed, Honorable Kiara.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to weigh in this very, very important statement raised by my colleague, Honorable Stephen Mogaka. Honorable Madam Speaker, the issue of pensioners has been canvassed in this House for such a long time. Honorable Madam Speaker, it pains so much when we know too well that people who reach retirement age, dedicated persons, people who are so patriotic to this country, Honorable Speaker, they are left to fate immediately after serving this nation for such a long time. Madam Speaker, it is the high time that this government devises a formula that will ensure that pensioners receive what is due to them immediately after retirement. Honorable Madam Speaker. Honorable Madam Speaker, I support this statement, and I say this time, Honorable Madam Speaker, let's get an answer that will satisfy our pensioners countrywide. Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker.
Okay, Chairperson, for somebody to speak to give an undertaking on behalf of the Finance Committee. Yes, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank Honorable Mogaka for raising that issue. In fact, I was from chairing a committee which we discussed a statement by Honorable Kibakendi on the delay of pensions on teachers. And so, Madam Speaker, this is a very great, very serious matter, and my committee will still address this and bring a report in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Then we have a statement that's being responded to. I'm told by the Transport and Infrastructure Committee. I think Honorable Dawood, were you the one to give the response on behalf of the committee? Yes, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is the response on behalf of the Chairman Transport Committee. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Member for Madoia, Honorable Dr. Edwin Mugo requested a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the deteriorating state of Thika Superhighway. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, Honorable Dr. Mugo sought to establish a report on the maintenance and rehabilitation plans put in place by the Ministry of Roads and Transport for the Thika Superhighway, particularly the stretch from Ngara to Kenol in Muranga County. B, the reasons for delay in repairing potholes and other damaged sections of the Thika Superhighway and measures being undertaken to address the deterioration so as to enhance road safety. And 3, the timelines within which the government intends to complete the necessary repairs and rehabilitation works to ensure it is in a motorable condition. Honorable Speaker, the committee received a response from the Ministry of Roads and Transport through the Clerk of the National Assembly, which I now wish to make. Honorable Speaker, regarding the maintenance and rehabilitation plans, the Ministry submitted that Ngara Canal comprises the Nairobi Thika Superhighway S1 and the Thika Canal section of the A2 road. The maintenance interventions undertaken on the sections include surface dressing on the Nairobi Thika main carriageway in 2019, localized repairs and pothole patching along the service lanes in 2025, and rehabilitation on selected sections along the non-motorized transport facilities walkways in 2025. Number 2, Madam Speaker, the Ministry further submitted that there are ongoing performance-based maintenance contracts on the Nairobi-Ruiru section. The major scope includes construction of bus bays at Roysambu and Githurai, aimed at improving traffic operations and safety along the sections, pothole patching at failed sections, installation of road signs, road marking along the constructed bus bays, and performance-based maintenance on the carriageway, road reserve, and structures to the required service level. Madam Speaker, number 3, on the Ruiru-Thika section, the Ministry submitted that the scope includes construction of climbing lane along the Blue Post section at Thika, construction of bus bays along Waithaiti section, pothole patching at failed sections, provision of road marking, and performance-based maintenance of the carriageway, road reserves, and structures to the required service level. Number 4, on the Thika Canal section, the Ministry submitted that the section of the A2 road was recarpeted in 2022 due to the budgetary constraints. Sealing the overlay with surface dressing on the road section could not be executed within the same contract. The overlay hence experienced severe raveling resulting from the effects of excess rainfall experienced between October 2023 and May 2024 after the overlay. Number 5, the Ministry further submitted that the road is currently under a performance-based maintenance contract whose major scope includes drainage works comprising provision of access culverts 900 millimeter and drain excavation, localized base repairs with hand-picked stones, surface tracing with 6/10 chippings, and 80/100 penetration grade bitumen sections, provision of road markings and other specified road furniture, and performance-based maintenance of the carriageway, road reserve and structures to the required service level. Number 6, due to the budgetary and contractual constraints, the ministry submitted that the current contract quantities are insufficient to accommodate AC overlay on the severely reveled sections. It has thus been considered necessary to forego the surface dressing and utilize the funds allocated to surface dressing to address more of the reveled sections through AC regulation. Number 7, the ministry further submitted that while the traffic loading on Thika Superhighway, Thika Canal and Canal Marua is considered uniform, faster deterioration is experienced along the Thika Canal section due to the inferior pavement structure. In view of this, the road section requires additional funding for pavement strengthening. In the long term, the Thika Canal section forms part of the government's planned upgrading of the canal, Thika Canal Marua corridor. Implementation of the major rehabilitation and upgrading works will be undertaken subject to availability of funding, completion of procurement processes, and fulfillment of statutory requirements. Number 8, Madam Speaker, regarding the delay in repairing potholes and other damaged sections, the ministry submitted that since opening of the Thika Superhighway to traffic in the year 2012, the major maintenance interventions undertaken on the highway include single seal surface dressing in 2019. The road has over the years experienced deterioration due to the effects of traffic loading and weather. Number 9, Madam Speaker, the ministry further submitted that the deterioration is particularly pronounced on the service lanes and non-motorized transport facilities due to inherent limitations in the original pavement design. The non-motorized transport facilities were constructed with a 35mm asphalt concrete wearing course, while many sections experience poor drainage that has accelerated pavement deterioration. Similarly, the service roads are constructed with less robust pavement structure than the main carriageway, making them more susceptible to premature failing under the increasing traffic loads. Number 10, the ministry stated that KENA carries out regular road condition assessments through ARICS, that is Annual Roads Inventory and Condition Survey, DRMIMS, that is Dynamic Response Intelligence Monitoring System, and routine inspections to identify and prioritize critical interventions. However, the interventions undertaken over the years envisage only holding maintenance. Comprehensive rehabilitation and reconstruction of the affected sections will be undertaken subject to availability of funds. Due to budgetary constraints, delays have been experienced in the undertaking the required treatments, including base repairs, reconstruction of the failed sections, and drainage improvement works. Number 11, regarding the timelines for completion, the ministry submitted that the holding maintenance works under the ongoing performance-based contracts are continuous and will be undertaken throughout the contract period to ensure the road remains safe and motorable. In the year 2025-2026, the allocation for maintenance was 1,400,632,612.41, while in the year 2026-2027, the amount for maintenance is 1,649,541,319. 12, the second last. On the Nairobi Ruiru section, the ministry submitted that the contract commenced on 9 June 2025 and is a 24-month contract with a scheduled completion date of 8 June 2027. On the Ruiru Thika section, the contract commenced on 9th June 2025 and is a 24-month contract with scheduled completion date of 8th of June 2027. On the Thika Canal section, the contract commenced on 24th of November 2025 and is a 24-month contract with a scheduled completion date of 23rd of November 2027. Lastly, the ministry further submitted that the comprehensive rehabilitation and reconstruction of the Thika Canal section will be undertaken subject to the availability of funding, completion of the requisite procurement processes, and fulfillment of statutory requirements. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit on behalf of the Chair of the Transport Committee, and Madam Speaker, I have already given the Member of Parliament for Modoia a written response. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Is a member who requested this? We let him. Let me give him my chance. Then we come to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the chairman for the elaborate response. Especially, I want to note that the budget has been increasing to manage the Thika Superhighway. But, Honorable Speaker, maybe there are some responses, but there are some issues which maybe they have not been adequately responded to. And one of them that has been introduced in the response is the construction of bus bays in Roysabu, Githurai, and Wetavia, because this bus base will be an important factor, in decongesting the road and also managing the issues of road accidents and so forth. They have not given us the timelines on when these bus roads will commence and when they are going to be completed. Number two, Honorable Speaker, the response has introduced the issues of construction of a climbing lane at Blue Post section, but they have just mentioned it. They have not told us maybe when is it starting and maybe when is it coming to an end. And finally, Madam Speaker, the statement, the issue, the common factor here is the issue of funding, additional funding, and probably now that we even have the National Infrastructure Fund, probably the response has not told us when these funds will be availed so that this road can be in a better condition. And also, Madam Speaker, we can also look at the low-hanging fruits like the street lighting in this road. The street lighting for the road is in very poor condition. If the ministry, through Kenha and through the committee, can address some of those, those low-hanging fruits, like a construction of a footbridge in a place called Montezuma in Kabati, which can ease, the issues of road accidents and also the traffic congestion. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Speaker, with your indulgence, riding on that response from the Chair Committee on Transport to the Honourable Member for Mathioya, although the member for Imenti North referred to Mathioya as Modioya, it is Mathioya constituency. Honourable Speaker, I know many members may not have been paying attention to your communication, which you communicated on the rejection of a bill that was passed by this House in October of 2025. And we are headed to October of 2026. And you indicated that immediately this House passed that bill, the Speaker's office did relay a message to the Senate on the passage of the Roads Amendment, the RMLF bill. Members will remember this is a bill that was apportioning money from the Road Maintenance Levy Fund to both KERA under the national government and part of this money going to our counties. And if members did not pay attention, the Senate has done the unthinkable. They rejected the bill in second reading. Not even with amendments, rejected the bill in totality. This is the same Senate, Honorable Speaker, that purports to be representing the counties. And I'm here left wondering, how are you representing the counties if you are rejecting a bill in totality that is apportioning part of RMLF funds to the same county governments to go and fix roads in your counties and in our neighborhoods, Honorable Speaker? Some of the issues you've had the Honorable Member for Madhya raising are issues, again, street lighting is a function of the county government. But the member for Madhya is now taking up the responsibility of lighting up Madhya constituency because the governor has failed. And the senator for Murang'a, instead of going to push this bill, is rejecting it in totality together with the other senators in the other house. Honorable Speaker, part of what we intended to do with this bill is to ensure that there is no duplication in allocation of funds to roads at the local level, Honorable Speaker. Because what has been happening in our counties, because the public are not aware which road is classified as a county government road and which one is classified as a national government road. Governors have been taking money from RMLF, duplicating the same roads that they are allocating their county revenue share to fix, and stealing part of the budgets that they have appropriated to the same roads that they duplicate. Honorable Speaker, last week, as we sought to go to committee, or rather discuss the, what is it called? This Kamket bill. The Equalization Fund appropriation bill. The concerns that were there raised by many members again touch on duplication. Because the bill, we appropriate money from this house, this money is procured for at the county level by the county CEC officers in charge of finance or procurement for that matter. Then they allocate the same projects that they have procured under the equalization fund, they again budget for them in their county budgets. Because they know the public do not know, Honorable Speaker. But the first accomplices to this theft in the county governments is the Senate. And Honorable Speaker, this rejection of this bill, as much as we go into mediation, and we'll be appointing a very strong mediation committee to discuss with the Senate. But we must express our disgust with the House that is rejecting a bill in totality. You cannot reject a bill in totality. There must be one or two clauses, at least, even the title that you agree with. But you know, it's a rejection in jest, Honorable Speaker, and to spite this House. But I want to tell senators, you are not spiting this House. You are spiting the same people you will be going to vote for you next year. They will be asking you, what have you done to make sure that money, RMLF money, gets to counties to fix roads in our neighborhoods that are not being fixed because money is not going there, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, as I congratulate the committee on transport for the response they have done, I wanted to write on that, to remind the House that we have done our bit and we will continue to do our bit as pertains to the allocation of RMLF money, but we must stand our ground to ensure that there is no duplication of allocation of funds to particular roads or even duplication of projects under the equalization fund, Honorable Speaker, because that equalization fund was meant to come and create equity and fairness in the country. But even those counties have been benefiting from this equalization fund, Honorable Speaker. 10 years after devolution, the advent of devolution, there is no change on the ground because of theft at the county level, Honorable Speaker. I miss the days, Honorable Speaker, before these people went to court, when we would appropriate that money here and it will be procured at the national government level. And that is the right thing to do, because there is even better equity at the national level than at the county level. Therefore, let me ask that the members will be appointed to the mediation committee to ensure that we buttress the position that we took, that what goes to Kera must remain with Kera. What goes to the counties must go to roads that will not again be duplicated at the county level budgets, because that is what governors have been doing with a clear I do not want to use the words that the member for Baringo North is using, but there has been clear collusion between senators and governors, and that is why you see this protectionist attitude in the Senate on this RMLF bill. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member for Tiati.
Speaker. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I want to agree with the Leader of Majority that one of the biggest mistakes of our Constitution was the creation of the Senate. It is a terrible mistake of history that we created that house called the Senate. But Madam Speaker, while we have that house existing, we'll have to deal with it, and I urge the Leader of Majority to live by his word and appoint a very strong mediation committee so we look into the issues of the RMLF. And I want to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that indeed there is a lot of duplication happening in the counties. Duplication through RMLF, duplication through the equalization fund. And one of the biggest problems we have is that equalization fund. And I want to tell you, Leader of Majority, you are lucky that you withdrew that bill, the appropriation bill for equalization. We would have thrown it out until we solve the issue of the procurement function. It is one of the biggest mistakes that was done by the Treasury to bring regulations, Madam Speaker, that allocates the power of procurement to the county governments. And that's where the problem comes in. That's where they come and do their duplication. And outright plunder of public resources. So, Madam Speaker, I just want to say that I want to urge honorable members, when the minister comes, I hope he will come tomorrow, let us all come in numbers, and while I do not want to anticipate debate, but let us all come in numbers and for once and for all, deal with the matter of the equalization fund so that the people and the counties and the communities that are supposed to benefit from this fund can be able to benefit as per the Constitution and as per the vision of the makers of our Constitution. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Buri.
I thank you, Madam Speaker. Just like the majority leader said, I think it has never happened in the two parliaments we have been, taller than this other one. When we think we are moving the right direction and the country is trying to manage the resources properly, the others who are not recognizing the positiveness of the things that the government is doing. Madam Speaker, one of the greatest problems that we have in the counties is the capacity to manage the resources that has been appropriated to them. Road sector being one of them. Madam Speaker, we have a problem with the way the county is managing donor-funded resources by the name KISIP, which part of it is the loans, and the KUSIP, which part of it is going to the loans. Madam Speaker, the RMF and what my fellow colleague Kamket has spoken on the equalization funds. Madam Speaker, the Senate need to feel it. They really need to come out clean and tell Kenyans what their respective counties have done with the money that has been appropriated to them, and specifically the roads. I will challenge my senator to tell us what money has been put to the loans and what project of loans have been done in the 9 constituencies of Meru County. Mr. Speaker, it defeats the logic. It is undermining the intellect of these members, the 290 members, who have managed their constituency with the 22% and 10%. And significant things can be seen in the road sector. Madam Speaker, when everybody is saying, let's give service to our citizens, the Senate is refusing in totality a bill which has a lot of positiveness in it. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we are left wondering, are we serving the same citizens? What is the Senate representing? What are the senators deliberating on development of the counties? If they are in bed with the governors, they need to tell us. But history will judge them. History will judge them. Madam Speaker, it is unheard of that you can reject the bill in totality, and the benefit of this is to the citizens they purport to serve. If there is anybody killing the revolution, is that House called the Senate. And I think time has come for us to call it out. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I think we can go to the next order. Okay, member for, you may proceed. Member for Mogotio. Not Mogotio, sorry. May proceed, Honorable Makilap. Give him the mic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Writing on the response from the Honorable Dahoud on behalf of the road sector, Madam Speaker, this amendment that has been rejected by Senate wholesalely was meant to streamline the usage of RMLF funds that goes to the county government to ensure that projects are not duplicated in our counties and in our constituencies. As you may be knowing, Madam Speaker, that if you go today to every constituency in Kenya, the roads that you see being worked on are the little money that the constituencies receive as 22% of RMLF. You will wonder what happens with the budget of the county governments on the road sector. What happens to the money that are allocated to the county governments? And if senators are able to reject even the title of the bill without reading, Madam Speaker, the question that Kenyans are asking is, do we really need Senate? Do Kenyans require Senate? Do Kenyans require Senate? Kenyans do not require Senate. I think Parliament and National Assembly can transact business of this country without the Senate, because the Senate have reduced themselves into oversight in what MCS are supposed to be doing in the counties. But I'm sure you can remember today, Senate are summoning ministers for security, ministers for education, ministers whose functions are not functions of county governments.
This is the confusion in this country, that these people must understand devolution. There are functions in the fourth schedule. The work Senate are doing is what MCAs of Kenya must be oversighting their county governments. Why do we have a situation where Senate summon Minister for Energy, Minister for Education, Minister for Security? What business do they have? That is function of national government. Let them read the fourth schedule. Madam Speaker, this matter must be dealt with now, just like the coalition fund. Teate is the single constituency in this country that receives the highest amount of money for a coalition fund. But the counties mess up. They are my neighbors. There is nothing to show that the 580 million given to Teate and the coalition fund has anything to show. Madam Speaker, and I agree with the majority leader, if Parliament is the one appropriating funds for a coalition fund, then it is Parliament to oversight, the National Assembly to oversight. What we appropriate in this House must be oversighted by the members of this House. That's what the law says. So we, in fact, going forward, if there is money to be allocated for a coalition fund, Madam Speaker, the projects must be itemized in our budget, so that when we pass the coalition fund, we pass with projects itemized and costed, Madam Speaker, so that we have real-time projects taking place in our counties. It is a lacuna. In fact, the judges did not read the Constitution properly. What Parliament appropriates, it must oversight it. What the MCAs will appropriate in the county governments, they can't oversight. Madam Speaker, we need to review this and call the Senate to order, so that programs of this country, development in this country, are not duplicated. Programs in this country can be able to be felt by the citizens who elected this House of Parliament. Madam Speaker, this is a serious matter that going forward, and even the committee that will be appointed for mediation, majority leader, appoint people who will not change their minds or be convinced otherwise. People who have the interest of this country at heart, people who can defend the country from being washed away by senators who do not understand what they want.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I think the greatest mistake that the 2010 Constitution made without knowing is the establishment of Senate. I think that was the greatest mistake, and time has come when we are coming head on with the truth. If, Madam Speaker, what they can do to reject in totality what goes to their voters, what goes to them, and they are the same people who claim that there are no roads, no lights and lighting, Madam Speaker, it's part of the county government functions. It is high time the majority leader, we come up in totality and look at the amendment of this constitution. And when we go to the amendment of this constitution, let us amend that section called Senate. Carry all those functions to the National Assembly. Because this House makes all laws. If, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sorry, if this House looks in totality the total amendment of the Constitution, whatever method, we must remove Senate for this country to be safe. I think Senate has taken us so far badly that rejection in itself, and it's good, Mr. Speaker, that they have rejected the entire thing when we have only 1 year to the election. Can that rejection eat them? Can it bring them home so that they can know that they're in their position because of the people of Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Lastly, on this one, let's have the Honorable, who had this statement? Mutunga. Oh, let's see Mutunga first. Proceed, Mutunga, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I've listened very carefully to what the members are saying, expressing their discontent with the action of the Senate. Honorable Speaker, if we look closely at what Senate does, I do not pick which provision in the Constitution they follow in much of the work that they do. Senate oversights ministers or CSs, cabinet secretaries. Instead of oversighting the governors, they keep calling the cabinet secretaries to their offices. They keep calling the PSs and ends of institutions. I do not know where this provision is, Honorable Speaker. On the other hand, Honorable Speaker, when you speak about securitization in this House, I think the common Kenyan does not understand exactly what we are talking about. Let's be simplistic enough. We have been doing roads supported by the national government under KERA, under KURA, under KENHA. But specifically under KERA, there is a 22% and a 10%, which comes from the levy. Senate has been eyeing this to pass it on to the governors. Our people know the extent to which governors have done roads in this country. They know the levels of scrutiny they do in oversighting their projects in this country. They know how thorough they are in doing these roads. The separation in terms of national, the urban roads, the highways, and the KERA roads is very clear. But, Mr. Speaker, you will find that the roads assigned to the governors, or in most of the countries, in most parts of the country, are actually either not done, unless where MCAs have stood their guard and forced the governor in place to give them money to do the roads. And they put such money in the budgets. It has not been happening. Mr. Speaker, they used to modernize towns, put cabros on towns. We have seeing very little happening nowadays. We only see senators trying to fundraise for the governors. Honorable Speaker, I've been involved in about 3 mediations. And in all the 3 mediations, there is one common factor that has been under discussion. And the common factor is how much more money do we raise for the governors. That is the relationship between Senate and the county government. Is that preserving and promoting devolution? Is that what Senate was created for? Is Senate a house to fundraise for the county governments? What about the proportion that they are given by this house? And it is declared as share of revenue that they have been given every year. That is disregarded, Honorable Speaker. Whenever there is any possibility to raise an extra coin, senators go out of their way. And sometimes mediations almost fail because we are not able to agree on proportions. Even the monies, or rather the resources that target specific commodity and specific commodity roads, they also want such roads to be managed by the governors. And we know this money is not used to do the roads. It is used to travel the world. It is used to do all other odd things. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in saying that Senate is not necessary in this country. We do not need it.
Very well, Honorable Dawood, close this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Dr. Edwin has talked about the construction of the bus stops at Roysambu, Githurai, and Waidete, and the timelines. I promise to get back as soon as we are back from recess. Regarding on the Blue Post section where we need the climbing lane, I agree with him completely because I was there on Saturday and It was such a, there was a jam for 2-3 hours. So that one, I will ask the ministry to give us a reply. Regarding street lighting, as my colleagues have alluded, that is under the county government, but we will still ask Kenna about it and the footbridge. Mr. Speaker, I want to just say one thing about what the majority has talked about, the RMLF and the classification. Mr. Speaker, the classification of roads was done in 2015 when Governor Munya was the chair of the Council of Governors, and he insisted, and he had even gone to court for that. And from that time, Class A, B, and C are under the national government. Class D and going down, D, E, and unclassified are under the county government, Mr. Speaker. And when we do the roads, under 22% and 10%, we do even the county roads, as you are aware, Mr. Speaker. So we are doing most of the work which the county governments are supposed to do. And their rejection of the RMLF fund bill, it shows that they do not need that money, counties do not need. And I've heard some of my colleagues talk about doing away with the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I had put a bill to remove the Senate and move the functions of the Senate to the county assemblies. And we then have a department in Parliament, a committee of devolution in Parliament, because when I was in the CIOC, that's what was happening, Mr. Speaker, but that bill did not go far because it was not approved by the Speaker. But I wish, if it is the feeling of honorable members that we can bring this bill. I know it's a constitutional bill which will require a referendum, but I'm still willing to sponsor that bill if it is approved by the Speaker, and then we go to a referendum to remove the Senate completely. We'll remove a headache. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Speaker. Just bring the bill, we shall deal with it.
Mr. Speaker, I don't have a problem. It is even in the table office. The clerk, Mr. Njoroge, knows about it, but it was not approved.
Honorable Dawood, stop name calling. Proceed.
I will bring the bill. I will ask for signatures from honorable members. So we do away with the Senate once and for all. The headache goes. Let them go to the county assemblies. Let's the county assemblies. We have. Even I had another bill where I was doing away with the governors. I know you are looking for governor, so that we have mayors like what we used to have, mayors of counties. So, Mr. Speaker, we will reply to this as soon as we are back from recess. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Honorable Dawood. Let's go back to order number 5. Call out order number 5.
Order number 5. Papers.
Chair Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House. Today, Tuesday, 25th August 2026. Report of the Departmental Committee on Education. Departmental Committee on Education on the approval hearings on the nominees for appointment to the position of member of the Teacher Service Commission. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee of Education in the report on the approval hearings of nominees for the appointment of members of the Teacher Service Commission, laid on the table of the House today on Tuesday, 25th August 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 252B of the Constitution, Section 8.8 of the Teacher Service Commission Act, and Cap 212 and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following persons as members of the Teacher Service Commission. 1, Mrs. Antonina Lentoijoni, and 2, Honorable Wilson Sosion. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What's the matter? What's out of order?
Honorable Speaker, when the order was called for chair of the Committee of Education to present papers, many of us here were sitting with anticipation of some good news that each member seated in this house now will be given 10 TSC letters to take to the constituencies. We are disappointed, very apprehensive, very disappointed that he has not done the God's work and he has left us in very bad shape. Honorable Speaker, I don't know what he has to say in respect of this matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Well, that's part of counter and banter. Next order. Yes.
Order number 8, the Creative Economy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2026, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to nurture and support the development of the creative economy in Kenya by facilitating innovation, talent, research, and entrepreneurship in the sector, to repeal and consolidate the laws providing for establishment, functions, and management of creative economy sector institutions, to provide for government interventions to nurture, grow, and protect the creative economy sector, and for connected purposes. Order number 9, the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026, second reading.
Majority Leader.
I'll give you, but don't sell.
Majority.
Honorable Speaker, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to move that the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, this is a very short bill that's just about 4 clauses. And the key purpose, Honorable Speaker, of this bill is to further amend the Air Passenger Service Charge Act, Honorable Speaker, that collects money from air passengers, I think about $10 per air passenger ticket. And this money, Honorable Speaker, was being collected by the collector, who is the Kenya Revenue Authority. And all this money was going to KAA, the Kenya Airports Authority. And therefore, what we seek to do now is to amend this, Honorable Speaker, so that instead of all this money going to KAA, or the Kenya Airports Authority, then KAA is forced to distribute parts of what it collects to the other agencies that we made beneficiaries of this particular levy, that we now obligate that the Commissioner will remit these funds directly to the respective beneficiary entities. And this will therefore eliminate the unnecessary delays and ensure funds reach their destination smoothly. Therefore, you do not have to go through one entity to then disburse that money to the other entities. And the key beneficiaries of this fund, Honorable Speaker, is Kenya Airports Authority, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and the Tourism Promotion Fund. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, instead of now this money going to KAA, then KAA transfers part of the money to, remains with what is theirs, transfers part of that money to KCAA, and then the balance goes to the Kenya, the Tourism Promotion Fund. This money now, the collector or the commissioner will be able to remit directly to the 3 entities, so that KAA remains with what is, gets what is due to them, KCA gets what is due to them, and the Tourism Promotion Fund also gets what is due to them. And this will, in a way, create a lot of efficiency, not in terms of just how quickly that money goes to them, but but also to allow the individual entities to then be able to progress and do what they need to do with the monies that has been collected on their behalf by KAA. The other small amendments, Honorable Speaker, are just technical ones to clean up, technical cleanups. For instance, just substituting the word charges with amounts. And this very subtle correction removes the legal ambiguity and provides absolute clarity in terms of the text that has been used in the Act. Instead of using charges, we use amounts. Honorable Speaker, this bill is not a bill within the meaning of Article 114 of the Constitution, and its enactment will not occasion any additional expenditure of public funds or stretch our national budget, since, as I said, it's just reapportioning what is already being collected and reapportioning it to the 3 different entities. This bill also does not touch on anything to do with county governments, and therefore has nothing to deal with the Senate, Honorable Speaker, because as I said earlier, in fact, we should have legislation like this that has nothing to do with this other house called the Senate. You can imagine if this, such an important bill had to go to the Senate again, and they will reject it in totality, including the title, without reading. Honorable Speaker, I am happy that this bill has nothing to do with our county governments, and therefore will not find its way to that other house. And we'll be able to expedite with this bill. A very short bill, just 4 clauses. And Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and ask members to support this particular amendment. I said rather straightforward and well-intentioned and good in creating efficiency, accountability, and transparency in the movement of public funds that are being collected by the Commissioner on the
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, like the leader has said, this is a fairly easy bill that does one thing, brings efficiency in remittance of funds, Honorable Speaker. Well, we know that the passenger service charge is usually collected by KRA. And when KRA collects this money, then it gives the money to KAA. Then KAA now gives the other beneficiaries, that is the Kenya Airports, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority and the Tourism Promotion Fund. Honorable Speaker, this becomes a bottleneck in the distribution of these funds. And therefore, what this bill intends to do is to ensure that when the money comes from KRA, it actually goes direct to KAA, to KCAA, and the Kenya Tourism Promotion Fund, Honorable Speaker. And that is the simple thing that this fund builds. So, in essence, Honorable Speaker, this bill deletes Section 6A to allow the Commissioner to remit these funds directly to the respective beneficiaries' entities. This eliminates unnecessary delays and ensures funds reach their destination smoothly. And I think this is the way to go. Instead of having several other people, what would I say? They keep the doorkeeping, Honorable Speaker. We just have funds go straight to the entities. And I think that is the way to go. I think we have had the same thing. I think the President brought in the issue where counties will receive money. And now they have to give money to county assemblies. And I think we have removed that bottleneck, that county assemblies and county governments are entities that should receive money on their own without one being the head boy of the other, or the head girl of the other. That money comes from Treasury, goes to county assembly, and also goes to the county government or the county executive. And I think that is a seamless way of doing things. And therefore, I second this bill and request that we pass it within the shortest time to enable these government entities that depend on this money to function efficiently. I thank you and I second. Thank you.
Honorable members, let me propose the question, which is that the Trust Administration Bill, National Assembly Bill, number 29 of 2026, be now read the second time.
Not that one.
And Ridikiri Mugambi, you can have the first bite.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of the best practices.
Order members, I'll take that again before Ridikiri. You proceed with your contribution. I think we are on order number 9. Thank you. I proceed to propose the question, which is that the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026, be now read a second time. Honorable Dikiri, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I was saying, one of the basic principles of modern business transaction is to reduce the bottlenecks in between the transactions. Mr. Speaker, elimination of delays and additional time wastage is the best thing that can be done to facilitate quick development ventures. Mr. Speaker, this is very key bill, and I second that we really need to make sure that the transactions are direct to the three entities, so without any delay. So, Mr. Speaker, I think these are very basic principles of modern business practice that we need to quicken and support. I thank you, Madam.
Sir George, what's the point of order?
Yes. Using your discretion, after Honorable Udo possibly, understanding Order 95, this bill is very important but totally non-controversial. We just need to pass it so that we move on and deal with the rest of the matters. I stand under 95 so that the mover would be called upon to reply and we proceed to equally important matters like this one. Thank you.
Very well, Honorable Undo.
Thank you, Sir George. Honorable Speaker, allow me to join my colleagues in supporting the bill. The Air Passenger Service Amendment Bill 2026. And as I do so, I just want to bring the attention to the people of Kenya that ordinarily when you buy an air ticket, those who are privileged enough to fly, if you are doing a foreign trip, you pay 50, equivalent $50 US, and if you are doing a local one, 600 shillings for an internal journey. Honorable Speaker, and that amount is spread, is shared between Kenya's Airports Authority, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and the Tourism Promotion Fund. So it's the essence of the amendment, Honorable Speaker, that while in the past you used to go to a certain channel before it's distributed, this time it's going to directly to the beneficiary organizations. However, Honorable Speaker, and he says, after deducting the expense of Kenya Revenue Authority for the collection of the charge. Honorable Speaker, probably at this particular moment, it would have been neater to set the threshold of how much KRA will charge for these services rendered. But for the purposes of expediting the process of distribution, let's uphold the bill. Probably if there will be any need in the committee of the whole House, we might have to set the specific amount or a percentage of how much KRA can retain for purposes of executing their duties mandated to them under the Constitution and the relevant legislation. For that, on those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Okay, you want us to put the question? You have to reply first, sorry. Honorable members, I now put the question that the mover be called to reply. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Proceed, Honorable Muruga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as you heard, everybody supported this bill. It's quite a straightforward bill, and I beg to reply and thank all the members who have contributed.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026, be read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
a bill for an act of parliament to amend the Air Passenger Service Act and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Trust Administration Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2026, second reading.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that the Trust Administration Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2026 be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, allow me first to thank the Chair of the Jailer Committee, the Honorable Murugara, and all the members, the very many good lawyers who serve in this House and serve our country, and the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, who have considered this bill through public participation, listened to many stakeholders and members of the public, and I'm sure they have their report ready, which they will be tabling in due course. But that does not stop us, Honorable Speaker, from continuing with debate in second reading of this bill, because it's quite an important bill in the administration of trust in our country. Honorable Speaker, we have had a very archaic or very old legal framework under the Trustees Perpetual Succession Act, Cap 164, which has very poorly adopted to contemporary financial systems in today's world and modern wealth management needs and corporate governance realities of today's world. Because this is a very old law that came into being before we had a robust financial system as we do today. Honorable Speaker, again, with the robust financial systems that exist today, we have had situations where tax avoidance, money laundering are the order of the day in today's world. Many years ago, when this law came into force, money laundering was only involved, was more rampant with people who were involved in drug trafficking or in illegal arms trade. But in today's world, Honorable Speaker, money laundering is a day-to-day affair, especially with those who are involved in illicit trade, illicit financial flows, including, Honorable Speaker, money that comes from corrupt activities. And again, with the advent of the new constitution in 2010 and the advent of devolution, you know, we got new kings called governors. And the illicit financial flows that come from our counties, Honorable Speaker, either from governors or chief officers, many members will attest that there are many chief officers who have served in finance dockets in counties who are super rich and have used this archaic clause to launder money through trusts, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, the key objective of this bill, Honorable Speaker, is one, to provide for the creation and recognition of different forms of trusts, including charitable trusts, the non-charitable purpose trusts, and family trusts. And each of these categories in this bill has the modus of registration and is clearly provided for in the manner in which you will be able to register either family trust under clause 10, the non-charitable trusts under clause 9 and the charitable trusts under clause 8 of the bill. And from clause 8 all the way to 10, Honorable Speaker, it defines each of these categories categories of trusts and how they will be registered. What you need to register, the number of people that you need, either in natural persons or corporate trustees. And for the charitable and non-charitable purpose trust, under clause 11, it says that a charitable and non-charitable purpose trust shall have at least 3 natural persons as trustees or 1 corporate trustee, so that each of these trustees that trusts that are registered, either the charitable or non-charitable trust, other than family trust, you must have at least 3 natural persons or 1 corporate trustee. Whereas for the family trust, you shall have at least 1 trustee. Therefore, the clear distinction being that a family trust, you can have just 1 natural person, but for the charitable and non-charitable trust, you must have at least 3 natural persons or human beings, not corporate trustees. And again, Honorable Speaker, a trust shall have where the trustees are natural persons. A trust, at least 1 trustee must be a Kenyan citizen or a resident of Kenya as prescribed in regulations that will follow this bill. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, again, to ensure that you do not have trusts where all the natural persons who are trustees are non-Kenyans or non-Kenyan citizens. The bill requires that every trust, whether it's a family trust, whether it is a charitable or non-charitable purpose, trusts, at least 1 person must be a Kenyan citizen as provided for in this bill. The second objective, Honorable Speaker, is to provide a very clear statutory framework governing trust and to promote certainty, transparency, and accountability in the administration. Honorable Speaker, trust, as I said, have been used not just for money laundering, but because of the manner in which they were being managed, many trusts, especially a few family trusts, people have been left property, and that property has ended up not benefiting the people who were intended to benefit. But benefited trustees. And therefore, this bill seeks to create that very clear statutory or legal framework that will govern how trusts are managed, what powers trustees in such trusts have, and how they can dispose of what is owned by such trusts. It also creates certainty and transparency and accountability in the administration of this trust, Honorable Speaker. The other objective is that this bill seeks to establish procedures for the registration and incorporation of trusts and provide for the issuance, refusal, and revocation of certificates by the registrar. As I said, each of the categories, whether it's a family trust, whether it's a charitable one, or a non-charitable trust, Honorable Speaker, each there is in the bill provides, without going into details, what will be required for the registration of such each category. The bill further seeks to establish clear qualifications, appointment, removal, and resignation procedures for trustees. Again, as I said, because of the archaic nature of the law that existed, we have had trusts where people become trustees in perpetuity, Honorable Speaker, and you could not remove them. And even where beneficiaries want to remove trustees because they are not serving the intended purpose of that trust, they were unable to remove them. But this bill now seeks to create that very clear qualification on who qualifies to be appointed as a trustee, the manner of the appointment, and the manner of even their removal or resignation. The bill, Honorable Speaker, further seeks to strengthen transparency by providing for registers of beneficial owners and proper accounting and record keeping by trusts. Again, Honorable Speaker, I said because of the ambiguity that existed in the old law, it was never clear who are the beneficial owners of trusts. And this bill now seeks to provide that there will be a clear register of the beneficial owners, and there will be proper accounting and bookkeeping, record keeping by trusts, so that it is clear who ought to have what under such a trustee. One of the other key aspects or key objectives of this bill, Honorable Speaker, as I said, is to combat illicit financial flows, ensuring that all domestic trust instruments cannot, under any circumstances, be maliciously subverted for money laundering or tax evasion strategies, because as I said again, we have seen people registering trusts either to move illicit financial flows or to facilitate the movement of illicit financial gains or financial flows, or to subvert payment of taxes. Therefore, this bill seeks to ensure that we tie all the knots to ensure that trust will no longer be used to subvert our tax laws, or indeed subvert our combation or our fight against illicit financial flows. Honorable Speaker, as I said, this bill also seeks to move with the modern financial architecture in the world, because people have become very creative and very innovative. You remember, Honorable Speaker, we just enacted the Anti-Money Laundering Act last year but one. And therefore, we need to realign this law also to ensure that it aligns to the Anti-Money Laundering Act that is already in place, to ensure that trusts are not being used to facilitate illicit financial flows or money laundering. Honorable Speaker, the bill introduces distinct operational criteria, as I said, for the three major classifications, that is the charitable trust, the non-charitable purpose trust, and family trusts. Clause 11, as I had mentioned, Honorable Speaker, sets the minimum number of people, natural persons that will be there under each of the categories, creating a clear distinction between the non-charitable purpose trust and charitable trust to have at least 3 natural persons as trustees, and family trust to have at least 1 natural person as a trustee. Honorable Speaker, the bill legally formalizes the...
Also provides that trustees must retain precise records and accounting data for a minimum period of 7 years. That record must be there. You know, some people destroy records and run away and say there was no record, but records must be kept. As I conclude, Mr. Speaker, this bill provides a modern, watertight legislative architecture that seals the loopholes historically used to hide illicit wealth or evade tax liabilities through unregulated trust. Now we are regulating trust. You cannot evade taxes. You cannot run away from responsibility of the trust, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, by anchoring strict penalties of up to 20 million, and this is fundamental, 20 million fine for rogue corporate trustees. Honorable Speaker, if we have a rogue corporate trustee, Honorable Speaker, you'll be fined up to 20 million and mandating the registrar of beneficial owners that you have to run a clean trust. You have to run a transparent trust. You have to run a trust within a global competitive financial destination, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I second and request members of this House, the gallant soldiers and men and women in this House, to support this bill so that we have a robust financial management system within the trust in this country. I beg to second.
Because the leadership agrees that trust by their very nature are very good things. And so we are just regulating to make it work better for our country. All members, I propose the question that the Trust Administration Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2026, be now read a second time. The member for Chepalungu, I want to hear from you on this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. As I raise as well to support the bill that is before us, it is paramount as well, Honorable Speaker, that we realize the importance of this particular bill, that we not only trust by believing, but now we trust by having regulations laid down properly on who is going to govern the trust that people live. Honorable Speaker, we have had many challenges, we have had many court cases, only by a mere person believing in one person based on trust. And to that effect, Honorable Speaker, this particular bill is very clear, it is very straight, it's non-controversial, that it is better for this country now to have a better regulation and rules that is going to govern the creation and the management, and wherever there is need for closure, the closure for trust that people have. Honorable Speaker, I would like to rise and to support this particular bill. Thank you.
I'll say the member for Tigania West.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to support this bill. Honourable Speaker, this is a very important bill that has that we are discussing this time. Honourable Speaker, will be having many trusts that are not properly guided, and it has presented various forms of challenges. And this bill comes in, or rather tries to propose a law that is going to clear up some of those challenges and ensure that we are able to deal with the issues as it were. Now, Speaker, coming to the bill itself, it gives very clear interpretation of the terms that are going to be used, in the sense that I took particular interest to get to know whether we are very clear in terms of the issues that have been befalling some of the trusts. Honourable Speaker, I've served in a trust in two instances. One, a trust that has put together a university, and another one, an Eastern African Agricultural Development Trust, where I am still a member of the trustee. I'm still a trustee, and it has, when we came to trying to register a trust in Kenya, it became very difficult because there was no law. So we had to invoke the NGO law to try and register this trust. And therefore this law comes in to help in resolving quite a number of problems. Honourable Speaker, in the specifications, the trust law, or the proposed law, basically tries to specify the different types of trusts that are likely. Charitable trust for purposes of development, for purposes of organizing, organizing funds that are for charity, trusts that are built as a result of non-charitable purposes, and those that are family-based, and others which have been specified in this particular bill, which therefore tries to clearly distinguish the types of trusts that you can deal with. And I would like to say that I find the bill fairly comprehensive in terms of those specifications. Honourable Speaker, when it comes to requirements and the content of the trustee of the trust deed that is supposed to be signed between by the membership, or rather by the owners of the trust, I find the bill fairly informative, especially in view of clauses 22 to 27, where the bill clearly deals with the registration of the trust and spells out the requirements for registration, the contents of the trust themselves, and also the effect of registration. Honourable Speaker, this bill has come in to try and clear the issues that have been there. People have been developing trust deeds without clear guidance, without clear anchorage on a clear framework. And that has presented
challenges in the past. When you look at part 4 of this particular bill, Honorable Speaker, the bill contains provisions relating to the property of a trust. And this is where the bone of contention always is when it comes to management of the property, and especially when probably this is managed by a third party or for and on behalf of other people who are not particularly interest parties, do not have interest in the trust itself. And this provision is clear and is important in trying to safeguard the trust itself or for and on behalf of the owners. Madam Speaker, I take particular interest in clauses in part 7, which basically deals with the duties and the general powers of a trustee in relation to their trusteeship and the trust property and the beneficiaries. Where property is concerned and where swindling of the beneficiary is in focus, this area has been terribly misused. People have been swindled property. People have lost a lot of resources as a result of having trustees that are not very honest and that are not properly, grounded by the provisions of a law that would clearly spell out the penalties if they basically do not do their business as it's supposed to be. We have had collusion in the past in cases where members of a trustee end up distributing or sharing the property of trust, and therefore basically swindling the owners of such property. The idea of defining the beneficiary and the managing, the trust on behalf of the beneficiaries is clearly acted upon in this particular law. Madam Speaker, when I look at the part 8 of the bill, the bill is very clear in providing for remunerations, and this is another area which has been changing over time. Remunerations, indemnity, and liabilities of the trustees themselves. The remunerations of the trustees may change if there is no proper guideline, and the law therefore clearly specifies how this remuneration is going to be conducted, what kind of, how indemnity is going to be handled, and how liabilities are also going to be dealt with in terms of this particular bill. Honourable Speaker, looking at the entire bill and generally looking at what has been happening in the past, I believe this bill comes in to resolve the many problems that have been there, to build trust to the people and to institutions that may want to incorporate a trust, and therefore to also define clearly how trustees are going to manage these institutions so that we can have progressive investment in trustees as an option. And with that, those very few remarks, Honourable Speaker, I do support.
Thank you. Member for Buri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this is a very important bill because there are a lot of properties that are left in trusts. Money is left in trust, money, properties, land, assets are left in trust, and the settler's mind is to have the continuity of these properties. Mr. Speaker, being entrusted with this create a very important in the future of one's property. My church has a lot of property, and this property is managed by a trustee. Many social groupings have trustees of the activities and the money that they have. One of the greatest problems that has been there is the guidance on how the management of the trusts is being conducted. And this bill sets that it sets the system through which the trustees will manage the trust property that has been entrusted to them. In many cases, the settler imagines how his beneficiaries will come and will take the advantage of the property that they have. In the mind of the settler, Mr. Speaker, the beneficiaries needs protection. The beneficiaries need to be guaranteed that what the settler earned in mind will be achieved. And therefore, this bill is taking very keen interest to the beneficiaries. Mr. Speaker, some properties are just left without the correct legal entities, and therefore, this bill sets the criteria under which these people will be able to legalize the documentation of the properties that the settler left behind. So in a nutshell, Mr. Speaker, this bill is very important. It sets the strong foundation on a new way of looking at the trusts and the way, and I think this is what is very important. This government of Kenya has been entrusted by international donors on the money that comes. That's the broad and general and broad perspective. So I think this bill is going to create confidence in the way the trust property will be managed in the future when the settler is unable to manage or when the settler has since vacated this earth. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Nambale.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to speak on this particular very important bill. Honorable Speaker, this is a very important bill to Kenyans because we have not had a proper roadmap, on registration of trust in this country. There have been a lot of confusion on whether a trust being created is a charitable trust, family trust, non-charitable trust, because
the current legislation on registration of trust does not specifically specify the types of trust that one is supposed to register. And that's the reason why we have had many people using trust as vehicles to hide ill-gotten properties, so that they can run away from government. And you look at clause 22, it gives a proper roadmap on how one can proceed and register trust. This has never been there before, because it gives even a requirement what's supposed to contain in on the trust deed, so that you disclose the purpose of the trust, the property to be put under trust, and even the purpose, and even the beneficial owner, as it is in registration of companies, so that we know that this trust was registered by so-and-so for this particular purpose, and these are the beneficial owners, or these are the people, the trustees, who are responsible for, if there's any question to be raised, there are people to be followed legally. I therefore, having perused the act, I support that it's a very important bill that is going to provide a clear roadmap to Kenyans, so that it even makes it easier for any person wishing to register trust to move and register without any other hindrances. And also, you will note, Honorable Speaker, that in this particular bill, by differentiating a family trust and non-charitable trust and charitable trust, you will note that even the churches we have are registered, some are registered as trusts. And you find that when a church is registered in Nairobi here, they have branches in Busia or Kilifi. Those subsidiary churches, they want to own property. It becomes a problem for them, because they must go to the mother church to provide them with the certificate, so that they can also own a piece of land, which has been very difficult. That's why we have had many people in church fighting over properties. But when you have a clear legal framework where trust can operate, it will benefit our citizens. I therefore support this particular bill.
Honorable Speaker, I stand on standing order number 96 and move that the debate be now adjourned in view of the seriousness of the matter and the need to fast.
The member Funyula stood on his sheet, starting order number 96, that because of the importance of this matter, that instead of asking the member to reply now, we adjourn debate. Is that the mood of the House? I therefore put the question that the debate on the Trust Administration Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2026, be now adjourned. As many of that opinion say aye. As many of that opinion say nay. Ayes have it. The debate on the bill is therefore accordingly adjourned to the next time it's laid in the other paper.
Order number 11, the Power of Mercy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2025, second reading, resumption of debate, adjourned.
Funyola, were you on this also? Because there's someone with the floor, so the first bite, then this afternoon goes to. There was no one on the floor, and therefore this chance goes to the member for Funyola to proceed with the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me at this onset stand to support the bill, the Power of Mercy Bill 2025, National Assembly, Bill number 56. Honorable Speaker, the bill is before us in pursuant to Article 133 of the Constitution of Kenya that grants the President of the Republic of Kenya the power of mercy for those convicted, jailed, or found the wrong side of the law. Honorable Speaker, I just want to start by reading the definition of the word mercy as presented in clause 2 of the respective bill. Means compassion or forgiveness shown towards an offender by the president. Forgiveness, compassion or forgiveness shown to an offender by the president. The Constitution of Kenya contemplates, and this has been even since independence, that there could be a conviction that requires some form of mercy, excess of the power of mercy by the President of the Republic of Kenya. In the Constitution that we promulgated in 2010, it provides very elaborate procedures to ensure that this power of mercy is not abused by the person who is entitled to make those, to exercise that power. Honorable Speaker, it also provides for pardon, means grant of mercy that permits an offender who has completed their sentence and demonstrated that a law-abiding citizen for a prescribed number of years to have all records pertaining to the criminal conviction be kept separate and apart from other records. Honorable Speaker, in this country, and probably elsewhere in the world, there are very many people serving in our correction facilities, serving in our prisons, who on the balance of evidence available could have been wrongly convicted, who by any chance could have been convicted because of false testimony. There has been very many cases where witnesses have come much, much later to recount their evidence that was wrongly used to convict people for no apparent reason. Honorable Speaker, as I stand here today, there was a case of mob arson sometimes in 2024 in my constituency. One of a boy who was just watching out of curiosity was found within the scene and is now serving 10 years in prison for an offense he was not party to. He was only a curious witness, a curious onlooker. And that's why in the wisdom that all constitutions in the world gives the president the power to pardon people who have been convicted after following the due process. Honorable Speaker, it also provides for remission, which means a grant of mercy that allows an offender to be released from imprisonment on the basis of good conduct, with the effect that all or part of the punishment is cancelled. Honorable Speaker, when you commit an offense, you are just it's not necessarily a bad person. You have been forced to make that commit an offense for various reasons. A mistake should not be a lifelong punishment, and that's why for me where I stand and sit, I don't support death penalty. Because death penalty is a finality. You have no reason for you to correct your mistakes and get rehabilitated in the society. It's not even a punishment, so to speak. It's an end to your matter. So that even later in life, if it was found that you are convicted wrongly, we cannot restitute life that has already been taken out. Honorable Speaker, the bill has got very, very good provisions. It says that a vulnerable offender is one of the conditions can be considered. And a vulnerable offender means a female with a child under the age of 2 years or who is pregnant, or over the age of 60 years, like quite a number of us members who are here. If you are convicted and you are over 60 years, that's a fertile ground for you to seek the power of mercy from the president. You are terminally ill, or you are permanently disabled. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of female with a child under the age of 2 years or who is pregnant, that's a point of debate that we need to debate very carefully, because they can collude between a female prisoner and a male prisoner warder to do what they can do to make sure the prisoner gets benefits from the same. Honorable Speaker, clause 5.4 provides that the member of the advisory committee appointed under this section shall serve as part-time basis for a single term of 5 years. Honorable Speaker, now what's out of order? Open of information. Yeah, the majority can inform me.
Honorable Speaker, you know, I didn't want to interrupt my good friend Ondo, but just to inform him that I heard him say that 2 prisoners can collude to do the necessary to be able to benefit from this if you are pregnant. And of course, he's a doctor. He knows pregnancy comes from conjugal rights that prisoners in Kenya do not enjoy. Therefore, just to inform the member for Funyula that prisoners in Kenya do not enjoy the rights to their conjugal rights while serving their sentences in prison. So they may not collude as he, just to allay his fears that there may be collusion between, maybe unless there is collusion between a prisoner and a sentry, the wardens at the prisons.
But where would they do that?
But they, again, is also illegal. There are no conjugal rights. And sexual intercourse in prisons is not allowed.
Where would they do that?
What do you mean?
This sentry and prisoner, where would they be doing this?
Honorable Speaker, you know, I have seen instances where in Kakamega Forest, the park in Kakamega Forest, they used benches. So don't asking where they would do it, Honorable Speaker. I'm just stretching my imagination. But the point is, I wanted to inform Oundo that it is illegal. Prisoners in Kenya do not have conjugal rights, unlike in some countries in the West where people enjoy conjugal rights while in prison. Here you do not enjoy. And therefore, you must avoid going to prison.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Sir George, you also want to inform the Honorable Oundo, or?
Fine, I'll get...
Just to inform the House faster than Honorable Oundo, that in the famous Muruatetu case, remember the sentence was death for the 3 of them. And they were all from custody. But there was a lady in between them who actually raised her hand and said, sorry, I'm expectant, so I cannot be sentenced to death. And everybody in the country was asking, how did she become expectant? So it is not a conjecture on the part of the leader majority. These things happen. They are not very common, but we are human beings. Honorable Oundo, be happy that we are not abolishing the death sentence in the NCAJ bills that I tabled reports this later, I think early this afternoon, on amendments to the Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code. What sentence you to death or give you life imprisonment, depending on the circumstances under which you committed the offense. Because judges have been complaining, mandatory death sentence is not judicial. They do not have a discretion. They must thus have that discretion. Thank you.
You are informed.
Informed, but if you went to school, there was osmosis. And Sir George knows it can also happen through osmosis, Honorable Speaker. In any case, I'm very well guided and informed. Honorable Speaker, Article Clause 12 of the bill has a very curious provision that we might have to read the report of JLAC to understand how to treat it. It provides that despite Section 1, Subsection 1, in the performance of its duty functions, the advisory committee shall not be bound by the strict rules of evidence. We will need to be very clear, because this evidence-based, the person who was convicted based on the presented evidence. If we do not follow the strict provisions of evidence, the rules of evidence, it means then we'll continue with the same systematic mistake and we might end up in the same problem. Honorable Speaker, probably might have to question the wisdom of a full-fledged secretariat, considering that this advisory committee will be domiciled in the office of the President. We might have to ask the necessity of a full-fledged secretariat, yet there's some work that can be done. And in addition, Honorable Speaker, we have the Power of Mercy Case Management Committee in each correctional facility. We might just have duplication of roles that are basically not necessary, Honorable Speaker. Of course, Honorable Speaker, I want to be very clear, and I'll need this further, because when you go to clause 28, the bill makes a reference to positions in the public service that are not provided for in the Constitution. For example, they say, Honorable Speaker, in clause 28, that one of the bodies to be consulted is the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. Honorable Speaker, when you go to Article 239 of the Constitution of Kenya, the security organs is Kenya Defense Forces, National Intelligence Services, and National Police Services. Of course, everybody will ask, where does the Criminal Investigation Agency come in a matter that surely looks more like a constitutional provision, not a matter of legislation? Honorable Speaker, in the same clause 28(5), it provides, among the people who are eligible for the exercise of the President of the Power of Mercy are sexual offenders. Honorable Speaker, I just hope in the committee of the whole House, one of the amendments that must have provided by JLAC is to remove any chance as a sexual offender and a serial sexual offender can be given, can benefit from the prerogative of the President on the mercy, on that. Also, again, Honorable Speaker, violent offenders who cause serious bodily harm to the victim where the offense was found to be motivated by discrimination, including gender-based discrimination, gender-based violence, female genital mutilation, domestic violence, ethnic-based violence, or violence against persons with disability. Honorable Speaker, on that I will have to move an amendment because that's abuse of the prerogative of power of mercy by the President. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, Honorable Speaker, we need as a country to look at our judicial system, our prosecution system. Honorable Speaker, I can guess, Honorable Speaker, even if you go to the
Honorable, 1 or 2 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, if you walk to many of these prisons, and I'll start with the prison in Busia, Korinda, I can bet there are people who are wasting space in prisons for very petty offenses. If you are arrested in taking Samia gin or Nguri, that cannot be an offense warranting you to go and rot in prison. That's an offense they can just make you stand, you sober up, and continue the activities. Honorable Speaker, there are some things that don't, then there is also, you would find the policeman, will find you walking in the evening late at night, they arrest you for loitering with the intent to commit an offense. Because they cannot prove that offense, they can't plant on you some basic things like bang and the kind of thing. We seriously as a country, and Sir George, I want to challenge you, before you go to become the governor of Tharaka Nithi County. You know Tharaka, votes from Tharaka always used to unsettle the election results. Please sit down with your committee, plus the judiciary, plus the office of the prosecutor or the DPP. Let's look at the offenses that can take somebody to prison. There's a provision in the law for community work. it would be much, much, much easier and more effective and beneficial to the community if those arrested for pet offenses can be called upon to do community work, like assisting the county governments that cannot even collect garbage, yet they receive billions and billions of money every day. Those who are arrested loitering around Funyula town, the mounting garbage in Funyula town, they can be told to pick the same. Instead of taking them to Korinda, wasting people's time, going to walk, go there, get them out, it does not make economic sense. Let's have effective use of our resources. When Uncle Moody was the Minister for Interior, Uncle Moody, he's the one who brought beds in prisons. So majority leader, the beds there can be used to do so many things. It is not confined alone for sleeping. We can as well continue. Because not all prisoners are bad. They are just there. By unfortunate incidents, they can still have children who are very good citizens of this country. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support the bill.
The Honorable Murugara. Murugara. The Honorable Murugara, it turns out that you already contributed on this bill. No, you did already, so. He's not on the floor anymore, and you know that you can only inform him if he's on his feet. I gave you already. The Honorable Order. Murugara, after the Honorable Leader informing the Honorable Undo, I gave a chance to inform him, didn't I? And said, yes, so let's leave it at that. The Honorable Mutunga, do you want to contribute to this? You did. So, the Honorable Bayer, go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I support this bill. I think this is a